Have you ever wondered what it feels like when a man truly falls in love with you? Not just the casual attraction, not the fleeting interest, but the kind of love that quietly changes the way he thinks, the way he behaves, and even the way he sees the world? Imagine for a moment that you could understand the deepest, most hidden emotions that swirl inside his heart, a world of feelings that he may never voice, but that speak volumes about his affection for you. By the end of this video, you'll not only recognize the signs, but you'll also gain a rare insight into the psychology of love, a guide to understanding a man's heart in a way most women never do. And if you stay with this video till the very end, you'll discover a hidden truth about love that can change the way you connect with the man you care about forever. Love is a powerful force, one that reshapes the mind and rewires emotions. And while women often express their feelings openly, men experience love differently. It is quiet, subtle, and sometimes even hidden behind layers of pride, fear, or uncertainty. But make no mistake, when a man falls in love, his feelings are profound, transformative, and in many ways instinctive. To understand him, you need to look beyond words, beyond surface-level behaviors, and into the deeper currents of his emotions. It's not about what he says. It's about what he feels, those silent, undeniable signs that reveal the depth of his love. Think about the last time you felt truly connected to someone, that sense of being valued, understood, and safe. Now imagine a man feeling that way about you, not as a passing thought, but as a constant undercurrent in his life. Love, for him, is not just an emotion. It's a subtle shift in how he views the world. His priorities change, often without him realizing it. He starts to think in ways he never did before, to care in ways he never expected. And while he may not always articulate it, his actions, thoughts, and even his silences speak volumes. There's a reason human psychology teaches us that men and women experience love differently. Men are wired to show commitment and care through action, not always through verbal expression. This doesn't make their love any less deep. In fact, it often makes it more enduring. Understanding this is the first step toward recognizing the hidden signals that reveal a man's true feelings. When a man is in love, he experiences subtle but profound changes that can strengthen your bond if you recognize them, and missed opportunities if you do not. Imagine a man walking through his day, facing challenges, stress, and responsibilities. Even in the chaos of his life, his thoughts drift to you. That constant mental replay is not accidental. It is a sign of emotional investment, a silent proof of his love. His heart begins to work differently, subtly prioritizing your happiness alongside his own. He may not say, "I love you" every hour, but in countless small ways, he carries you with him, silently, consciously, deeply. This is the essence of how a man experiences love: quiet, consistent, and transformative. Now, here is something many people miss. When a man is in love, he is more attuned to your needs than you might realize. He notices patterns, small habits, your moods, your favorite things. Psychology tells us that attention is a form of love. When he remembers what matters to you, even if he forgets his own trivial worries, it is not coincidence. It is a reflection of how deeply you have embedded yourself in his heart. This attentiveness, this constant consideration, is often invisible on the surface, but it is a powerful sign of emotional attachment. And here's the promise. If you stay with this video until the end, you will uncover the hidden, unspoken truths that men reveal only through subtle behaviors, through tiny gestures, and through the invisible language of the heart. You'll learn to decode the signs that reveal not just love, but a kind of devotion that changes a man from the inside out. Understanding these signs will allow you to see beyond appearances, to feel the depth of his emotions, and to recognize the rare connection that is often hidden from plain sight. Before we dive deeper into the specifics, it's essential to understand one fundamental truth: love is not always loud. It doesn't always announce itself with grand declarations or dramatic gestures. For many men, love is a quiet, steady force that moves them toward care, protection, and a profound desire for your happiness. When you recognize this, it changes everything. You stop searching for verbal affirmation alone and begin to notice the nuanced ways in which his heart speaks. You learn to appreciate the silent sacrifices, the protective instincts, and the quiet thoughtfulness that defines true emotional connection. In this video, You're not just going to learn the signs of love. You're going to understand the psychological forces behind them, why a man behaves in ways he does when he's in love, and how these behaviors reveal an emotional truth that often goes unnoticed. By the end, you will have a deeper insight into his heart, a rare understanding of his feelings, and the knowledge to recognize when love is genuine, unwavering, and life-changing. So stay with me, because what comes next will reveal the next layer, the hidden, subtle ways a man shows protectiveness, thoughtfulness, and silent devotion. By the time you finish this video, you will not only see him differently, but you will also see the power of love itself in a new light. Every thought, every gesture, every silent moment carries meaning. And when you understand these signals, you gain the rare ability to connect on a level deeper than words ever could. Love from a man's perspective is often more subtle than it appears. It is not always expressed through words, gifts, or grand gestures. Instead, it manifests in a quiet transformation, a shift in priorities, in mindset, and in the way he interacts with the world around him. When a man truly loves, his thoughts begin to revolve around your happiness, your comfort, and your well-being. He starts to measure his actions not just by what benefits him, but by how they affect you. This is not a conscious calculation. It is an instinctive response, a deep emotional wiring that guides him to protect and nurture what he values most. Men often show love through commitment. It is a commitment not only to the relationship, but to the emotional bond that grows stronger with time. Even when life is stressful, demanding, or overwhelming, his attention will naturally return to you. The mind of a man in love is remarkably consistent in this way. Thoughts of you become a part of his mental routine, almost like an anchor in a turbulent sea. This presence is subtle, yet powerful. It quietly reinforces the connection, reminding him that love is not something to be chased. It is something to be lived every single day. Another characteristic of love from a man's viewpoint is his sense of responsibility. When he feels a genuine emotional attachment, he begins to care about your safety, comfort, and emotional state in ways he may never have imagined before. This responsibility is not burdensome, it is empowering. It comes from a place of respect, admiration, and deep concern. His decisions, even the small ones, begin to reflect this awareness. He might prioritize your needs over his own in ways that are almost unconscious, yet deeply meaningful. Each choice, each consideration, is a silent testament to the value he places on the bond between you. Empathy becomes a defining trait in a man who is in love. He begins to feel your emotions as if they were his own. Your joys lift him, your sorrows weigh on him, and your challenges ignite a desire to support and guide you. This emotional resonance is not learned, it is innate. Love rewires the emotional pathways, making him more sensitive, more attentive, and more willing to invest energy in creating a sense of harmony around you. It is a profound change, one that transforms not just his behavior, but his inner experience of the world. Curiosity also flourishes in his mind. He wants to understand every aspect of who you are, your dreams, your fears, your ambitions, and even the thoughts you keep to yourself. This curiosity is not intrusive, it is an expression of genuine interest and connection. He listens attentively, remembers details, and seeks to align his actions with what matters most to you. Through this process, he demonstrates that love is not passive. It is active, deliberate, and committed to growth, both for himself and for the relationship. When a man is deeply in love, he often experiences a heightened sense of patience. Situations that once might have frustrated or annoyed him suddenly become more manageable. He learns to navigate conflicts, misunderstandings, and challenges with greater calm because the emotional bond he feels with you outweighs temporary irritations. This patience is a reflection of maturity, empathy, and devotion. It is a silent signal of his investment in the long-term stability and happiness of the relationship. A man in love also begins to notice the beauty in the simplest aspects of your presence. The way you laugh, the way you think, even the quiet moments when you are simply being yourself, all of these become profoundly significant. Human psychology shows that emotional attachment enhances perception. He sees more, appreciates more, and values nuances that might go unnoticed by anyone else. This heightened awareness is a natural consequence of love. It is how the mind rewards genuine emotional investment. Respect and admiration become natural byproducts of this connection. When a man loves, he not only cherishes the relationship but also the person you are. Your opinions, your choices, and your individuality matter deeply to him. He does not seek to change you, he seeks to understand, support, and complement you. This is a critical distinction often overlooked that reveals the depth of his feelings. True love motivates admiration, not control, and fosters a sense of equality, partnership, and trust. Another subtle sign is the desire for shared experiences. A man who loves seeks moments to create memories, not out of obligation, but out of genuine longing to connect. Even ordinary activities gain extraordinary meaning when shared with someone he deeply cares for. Time spent together becomes treasured, and he often prioritizes these experiences over distractions or trivial pursuits. This behavior demonstrates that love is not only about emotional connection, but also about creating a shared life enriched with intention, presence, and meaning. Finally, the quiet pride he feels in your presence is unmistakable, even if unspoken. Love inspires a sense of fulfillment that goes beyond self-interest. He takes joy in your achievements, your happiness, and the way your presence enhances his life. This pride is not about arrogance or ego, it is a reflection of genuine emotional satisfaction. When a man loves, he experiences a sense of completeness that is hard to articulate but impossible to miss if you pay attention to the subtle cues. Through all of this, it becomes clear that love from a man's perspective is deeply intertwined with his emotions, behaviors, and psychology. It is an active, living force that shapes his thoughts, priorities, and actions. The signs may not always be loud or dramatic, but they are consistent, meaningful, and powerful. By understanding this, you gain the ability to recognize authenticity, to appreciate the quiet gestures, and to connect on a level that transcends words. Love, in its truest form, is not always visible on the surface, but it leaves an undeniable mark on everything a man does when he is truly invested. When a man is in love, a powerful instinct quietly emerges, the desire to protect. This protectiveness is not about dominance or control. It is about care, concern, and a silent commitment to ensure your safety and happiness. The feeling is often subtle, almost invisible, but it influences his thoughts, his choices, and his behavior in profound ways. He becomes attuned to the world around you, noticing risks, challenges, and situations that might affect your well-being. Even if he does not speak about it, the mind of a man in love constantly calculates how to keep you safe, emotionally and physically. This protective instinct often manifests in emotional ways first. He becomes more alert to your moods, your reactions, and the subtle signals of discomfort or distress. When he senses that you are troubled, his immediate response is to soothe, comfort, or intervene in any way possible. Psychology shows that this arises from deep emotional attachment. When a person cares for someone profoundly, their brain prioritizes the loved one's emotional state. The desire to shield, to prevent harm, or to lessen suffering is a natural extension of this attachment. Beyond emotional care, protectiveness often extends to practical actions. He anticipates challenges before they arise and takes steps to prevent them. Simple gestures, such as offering help, planning ahead, or taking responsibility in situations where you might struggle, are expressions of this instinct. It is not about control. It is about ensuring stability, security, and a sense of reassurance. Love, in this form, transforms a man into someone who silently works behind the scenes to create a safer, more supportive environment for the person he cherishes. A man in love also demonstrates protectiveness through his decisions. Choices about time, energy, and priorities often shift in ways that reflect concern for your well-being. He may sacrifice comfort or convenience to ensure that you are cared for. These actions may seem small or insignificant on the surface, but they are driven by a deep internal commitment to safeguard your happiness. This instinct is both conscious and subconscious, guiding him toward decisions that reflect not only affection but responsibility, empathy, and devotion. Interestingly, this protective feeling is closely tied to respect. It is not about limiting freedom or asserting authority. True protectiveness arises from admiration and reverence for the person you are. It is motivated by the understanding that your happiness and safety are priceless, and any threat to them feels personal. This is why a man who loves will defend you not out of ego, but out of a profound emotional bond. The intensity of this instinct is directly related to the depth of his attachment. The stronger the love, the more vigilant, attentive, and caring he becomes. Another subtle dimension of protectiveness is the desire to shield you from emotional pain. He becomes aware of potential disappointments, frustrations, or hurts before they happen. He may offer guidance, advice, or encouragement, not to control your choices, but to help you navigate challenges with greater ease. He instinctively wants to be a source of strength, a safe harbor in a world that can feel uncertain or harsh. This is a quiet yet powerful sign that his feelings are not fleeting. They are grounded in deep emotional commitment. Protectiveness also reveals itself in social settings. A man who loves may feel an unconscious responsibility to ensure that you are treated with respect, kindness, and fairness. He notices the small details in interactions with others, sensitive to anything that could affect your dignity or comfort. This behavior is driven by a combination of care, pride, and emotional investment. It is not about exerting authority. It is about honoring the value he places on you and ensuring that his love is mirrored in the respect you receive from the world around you. Even in private moments, this instinct can be observed. He will often anticipate your needs, offer help before it is asked for, or create situations where you feel supported and secure. This may be through words, gestures, or simply his presence. Human psychology suggests that this protective behavior is linked to attachment systems in the brain. When a man feels deeply connected to someone, his brain activates patterns of vigilance, caregiving, and empathy that naturally drive him to act in protective ways. It is not forced or performative. It is a reflection of how deeply his emotions are invested. Protectiveness can also manifest in subtle, almost invisible ways. He may prioritize your comfort without announcing it, adjust his schedule to be available when you need support, or even make choices in his life that reduce stress or potential harm to you. These acts, though often overlooked, are some of the most sincere signs of love. They reveal an emotional depth that goes beyond words, a commitment that is measured by actions rather than declarations. Finally, the feeling of protectiveness is intertwined with patience and understanding. A man who loves will often tolerate inconveniences, sacrifices, or delays without frustration, because his primary concern is ensuring your peace of mind. The instinct to safeguard your happiness surpasses the desire for immediate gratification or self-interest. This combination of vigilance, empathy, and selflessness is one of the most profound indicators of genuine love. It is a constant, quiet force that shapes behavior, influences decisions, and silently reassures that the emotional bond is strong, enduring, and unwavering. Through this protective instinct, love is expressed without words. Every decision, every careful observation, and every small act of care becomes a reflection of emotional commitment. Understanding this allows a woman to recognize the depth of a man's feelings, even when he is not verbally expressive. True protectiveness is never performative or loud. It is an internal, psychological force that transforms how he thinks, acts, and prioritizes the person he loves. It is a quiet but powerful signal that the connection is not superficial but deeply rooted, capable of weathering challenges and standing the test of time. When a man is deeply in love, his mind becomes a constant sanctuary for thoughts of you. These thoughts are not fleeting. They are persistent, quiet, and often unintentional. Even during the busiest or most chaotic moments, your presence lingers in his mind, creating a mental connection that is both subtle and profound. This constant thinking is not just emotional, it is biological. The brain rewards emotional attachment, triggering patterns of focus and attention that naturally bring the loved one to the forefront of awareness. Every smile, every word, every detail about you becomes a small mental imprint that reappears throughout his day. This constant presence in his thoughts influences his emotions. Moments that remind him of you trigger joy, comfort, and a sense of fulfillment. He experiences a quiet excitement, even at the memory of your laughter or the warmth of your voice. This is not obsession. It is attachment, deeply rooted in emotional investment. The more he cares, the more often your image appears in his mind, forming an invisible thread that connects him to your energy. Every thought is a reflection of how much he values you, even when he does not say it aloud. A man in love often imagines scenarios that include you, mentally rehearsing experiences and moments that bring happiness. This could be something as simple as planning a walk together, imagining conversations, or anticipating shared achievements. Psychology shows that the mind constantly runs simulations of desired outcomes when emotional attachment is strong. These thoughts are not random. They reflect hope, care, and an instinctive desire to include you in his life in meaningful ways. Your presence is integrated into his daily mental landscape, creating a subconscious priority for your happiness and well-being. These mental preoccupations are often accompanied by protective and supportive impulses. While thinking about you, he unconsciously considers what actions might improve your life, ease your burdens, or bring you joy. Even when he cannot physically act, the thought alone strengthens his connection to you. This is why love is often called a motivator of the soul. It compels action, reflection, and intentional care, even in subtle, unseen ways. Every consideration, no matter how small, becomes a proof of emotional investment, a silent declaration that your happiness matters more than transient concerns or distractions. Constant thoughts also strengthen emotional empathy. When he reflects on your experiences, he internalizes your feelings, celebrating your joys and feeling your sorrows as his own. This mental engagement fosters a deeper understanding of who you are and how your mind works. He becomes increasingly attuned to your moods, your preferences, and even your unspoken needs. Through this psychological connection, he builds an emotional map of you, a mental representation that guides his behavior, helps him anticipate your reactions, and strengthens the emotional bond. This persistent thinking also drives intentional care. A man who constantly thinks about you often takes steps, big or small, to improve your life. It may be through planning gestures, offering advice, or simply checking in to ensure you're okay. These actions are the physical manifestation of the mental preoccupation that love creates. Every thought becomes a blueprint for caring, showing that love is not only felt internally but expressed externally through deliberate, meaningful actions. This is why someone who loves you deeply will often surprise you with care, thoughtfulness, and attention that seems effortless but is powered by constant mental engagement. Interestingly, this mental focus strengthens attachment over time. Each recurring thought creates a psychological loop of reinforcement, deepening emotional investment. The brain responds to repeated focus by forming stronger neural connections, making attachment more resilient and durable. This is why men in love often find it hard to stop thinking about the person they care for. It is not mere preoccupation. It is an adaptive mechanism designed to maintain closeness, ensure attentiveness, and strengthen emotional bonds. Every thought is an invisible thread weaving a tighter connection, one that withstands distance, time, and challenges. Another aspect of these constant thoughts is anticipation. He mentally prepares for your needs, considers potential challenges you might face, and imagines ways to bring comfort or joy. This forward-thinking mindset is not forced. It arises naturally from the depth of emotional attachment. By visualizing your happiness and safety, he aligns his own behavior with the care and support he feels internally. It is a remarkable reflection of how love integrates thought and action, creating an ongoing loop of connection that strengthens the bond over time. This continuous attention also fosters appreciation. Every memory, every small detail about you, becomes a source of positive reinforcement. When he thinks of your laugh, your kindness, or your unique traits, these mental images create emotional satisfaction, gratitude, and a subtle joy that persists throughout the day. Psychology confirms that repeated mental focus on positive attributes increases emotional attachment and fosters long-lasting affection. The more he thinks about you, the more his heart becomes aligned with your presence, and the deeper the emotional bond grows. Finally, constant thoughts about you signal sincerity and devotion. A man who genuinely loves does not need external reminders to think of you. His mind naturally returns to your presence, reflecting genuine emotional investment. These recurring reflections are more than memories. They are the subconscious manifestations of care, priority, and attachment. Understanding this reveals a profound truth. Love is not always visible in words or grand gestures. Often, it lives quietly in the mind, continually shaping thoughts, guiding actions, and reinforcing the invisible yet undeniable connection between two hearts. When a man falls deeply in love, he begins to reveal parts of himself that he has carefully guarded for years. Emotional walls start to crumble, and the layers of protection that once defined him slowly fade away. This vulnerability is not a weakness. It is one of the most powerful signs of genuine love. Allowing oneself to be emotionally open requires trust, courage, and a profound connection. When a man shows vulnerability, it means he sees you as someone safe, someone worthy of his deepest fears, hopes, and insecurities. It is a silent statement, I trust you with my heart. Love triggers an emotional awakening in men, making them more willing to confront their inner fears and express feelings they may have hidden even from themselves. He begins to share thoughts that were once private, exposing uncertainties, regrets, and dreams. This process is gradual, unfolding as the emotional bond strengthens. It is a deliberate act of intimacy, designed to create closeness and understanding. The more he opens up, the more his emotional world intertwines with yours, building a connection that is profound and lasting. Psychology shows that vulnerability is a cornerstone of emotional bonding. When a man allows himself to be open, it strengthens trust, empathy, and intimacy between partners. It signals that he values the relationship more than his ego, more than fear, more than appearances. He is willing to risk discomfort to create a deeper connection, demonstrating that love is not superficial, but rooted in authenticity and emotional courage. This kind of openness often encourages reciprocity, creating a cycle of honesty, support, and mutual respect that strengthens the bond over time. Vulnerability also reveals his priorities. A man who shares his inner thoughts and emotions demonstrates that the relationship matters more than superficial pride. By revealing doubts, insecurities, or fears, he is implicitly showing that your understanding and support are vital to him. This willingness to expose himself emotionally indicates the depth of his feelings. It is a signal that he does not take the connection lightly and that his attachment to you is meaningful, intentional, and transformative. Another aspect of emotional vulnerability is the subtle shift in behavior that accompanies it. He may become more attentive, patient, or sensitive to your feelings. He begins to notice emotional cues, adjust his responses, and act in ways that create comfort and reassurance. This is not an act of obligation, but a natural extension of his desire to nurture and strengthen the relationship. Vulnerability allows him to step away from self-centered perspectives and align his behavior with the emotional needs of both partners, creating a balance of care, empathy, and understanding. Love-driven vulnerability also opens the door to authentic communication. He shares dreams, ambitions, and sometimes even regrets that he may have hidden from the world. These revelations are more than words. They are a reflection of trust, intimacy, and a desire to build a shared life. By expressing what truly matters to him, he invites a connection that transcends surface-level interactions. Emotional exposure becomes a bridge between hearts, creating a sense of closeness that is impossible to achieve through superficial gestures alone. Even small moments of vulnerability carry enormous significance. A glance of hesitation, a moment of quiet confession, or a subtle admission of concern all indicate that he is emotionally invested. Each instance builds upon the last, gradually creating an environment of openness where both partners can feel safe to share, express, and grow together. This ongoing pattern of trust and emotional exposure is one of the most reliable indicators that love is sincere, deep, and enduring. Psychologically, allowing vulnerability requires overcoming fear of judgment, fear of rejection, and fear of exposing weaknesses all challenge men when it comes to expressing true feelings. When he pushes past these barriers for the sake of love, it signals that the emotional bond is stronger than his insecurities. He chooses to connect, to risk emotional discomfort, and to create intimacy, demonstrating a level of commitment, care that is rare and profoundly meaningful. Vulnerability also brings out protective instincts in new ways. Once he reveals his inner world, he implicitly invites you into his life and trusts you with aspects of himself that are most personal. This trust motivates him to act in ways that reinforce safety, understanding, and emotional alignment. His words and actions begin to reflect a desire to protect not only your well-being, but also the shared emotional space that has been established between you. Love, in this sense, becomes both a connection and a responsibility, shaping behavior, thoughts, and intentions. Finally, The emotional courage that comes with vulnerability creates a sense of closeness that cannot be replicated through grand gestures or surface-level affection. It establishes a rhythm of openness, trust, and emotional honesty that strengthens the relationship on a foundational level. When a man is willing to be emotionally exposed, it is one of the clearest signs that his heart is invested. His attachment is deep and his love is genuine. Recognizing this vulnerability allows a woman to appreciate the depth of his feelings, to honor his trust, and to engage in a connection that is both profound and transformative. Through vulnerability, love becomes visible, not in words, but in the quiet unfolding of emotions. Every shared fear, every admitted dream, every honest confession is a reflection of the strength of his feelings. It is a demonstration of trust, devotion, and emotional bravery, a combination that forms the backbone of a meaningful, lasting connection. Understanding this allows you to see the truth of his heart, not through declarations or actions alone, but through the silent courage he displays in opening himself to love. When a man is in love, his feelings inspire him to become a source of strength and encouragement. He does not just wish for your success or happiness, he actively seeks ways to help you grow and flourish. This desire to support is not born out of obligation or expectation. It emerges from a profound connection and a genuine investment in your well-being. Every action, no matter how small, reflects a mindset that prioritizes your growth alongside his own, creating a partnership where each person uplifts the other. Love awakens a natural instinct to contribute to your life in meaningful ways. He notices your ambitions, your struggles, and your dreams, and he instinctively wants to be a part of them. He celebrates your victories, encourages you through challenges, and offers guidance without judgment. This support is subtle, yet consistent. It is not always verbalized or obvious, but it shapes decisions, actions, and priorities. By observing these behaviors, it becomes clear that love is more than emotion. It is an active, living force that drives him to be present and reliable. Psychology explains that this drive to support stems from emotional empathy. A man who loves deeply experiences your struggles as if they were his own. He feels compelled to act, not to dominate or control, but to alleviate difficulty and provide stability. His encouragement is rooted in understanding, patience, and a desire to see you succeed in alignment with your values. This kind of support creates a safe space where growth is nurtured, where your aspirations are respected, and where emotional resilience is strengthened through partnership. Growth together is another natural outcome of love. When a man feels connected, he seeks to evolve not only for himself, but for the relationship as a whole. He recognizes that true love is not static. It is dynamic, requiring effort, adaptation, and mutual development. He becomes motivated to improve habits, communication, and emotional intelligence because he values the relationship enough to invest in its long-term success. This desire to grow is as much about self-improvement as it is about creating a shared path where both partners can thrive. Every supportive gesture, no matter how minor, reflects this deep-seated desire to strengthen the connection. It could be offering advice during a difficult decision, standing by you during challenging times, or providing reassurance when doubts arise. Each act communicates a commitment to your well-being and a recognition of your importance. The love that drives these behaviors is patient, thoughtful, and enduring. It does not seek immediate reward, but focuses on cultivating a foundation of trust, stability, and emotional safety. A man in love also becomes a source of inspiration. His belief in your potential encourages you to pursue goals you might have hesitated to chase alone. His support instills confidence, resilience, and courage, reminding you that challenges are temporary and that someone believes in your capacity to overcome them. This psychological reinforcement strengthens self-esteem and fosters a sense of partnership that motivates both individuals to aspire to greater heights. Love, in this sense, becomes both a guiding light and a steady anchor. Beyond encouragement, a man's desire to grow together often manifests in shared experiences. He seeks opportunities to learn, explore, and evolve alongside you. These shared experiences strengthen emotional bonds, create memories, and provide mutual growth that benefits both partners. It is a reminder that love is not merely about emotional attachment, but about creating a life that is richer, more fulfilling, and more resilient through collaboration and understanding. The willingness to support and grow together also requires sacrifice. He may put aside personal preferences, comfort, or convenience to ensure that you feel empowered, understood, and valued. These sacrifices are not burdensome. They are expressions of love in action. They demonstrate that true affection is not measured by grand gestures alone, but by consistent, thoughtful, and selfless choices that reinforce the bond over time. By investing in you, he invests in the shared life that he envisions, one built on trust, respect, and mutual care. Patience becomes a hallmark of this type of love. Supporting someone's growth requires tolerance, understanding, and perseverance. A man in love recognizes that development, emotional, personal, or professional, takes time. He encourages progress, offers guidance, and provides reassurance even when setbacks occur. This patience reflects a deep understanding that relationships thrive when each partner feels empowered to evolve without fear of judgment or pressure. The emotional bond grows stronger through consistent support, creating a sense of stability and security that becomes a cornerstone of lasting love. Finally, the desire to support and grow together demonstrates the selfless nature of true affection. It is an ongoing commitment to ensure that both partners flourish, emotionally and personally, while strengthening the connection. Each action, each word, and each decision reflects a deep psychological investment in the relationship. Love, in this sense, is both a responsibility and a privilege, a force that inspires growth, fosters trust, and cultivates a shared life filled with purpose, joy, and mutual respect. When a man is deeply in love, he experiences a quiet, underlying fear, a fear of losing the person who has become the center of his emotional world. This fear is not about control or insecurity, it is an acknowledgement of the immense value you hold in his life. The thought of your absence triggers a deep emotional response, a subtle tension that reflects how much he depends on your presence for emotional balance, joy, and stability. Love, in this way, heightens awareness and sensitivity to the possibility of loss, making him more attentive, protective, and considerate. This fear often manifests as heightened attention. He notices subtle changes in your behavior, moods, and routines because your presence has become a fundamental part of his daily emotional experience. Every interaction carries significance, every word resonates more deeply, and every shared moment strengthens his awareness of how irreplaceable you are. Psychology suggests that attachment increases vigilance toward potential threats, not in a possessive way, but as a natural response to emotional investment. His fear is a reflection of love, a measure of how deeply he values your connection. Jealousy is another emotional signal intertwined with fear. When it appears, it is often subtle, a quiet discomfort at the thought of someone else occupying the emotional space he cherishes. This is not about domination, it is about awareness and prioritization. He becomes more mindful of interactions that could impact the bond he shares with you, not to restrict you, but because the relationship holds profound importance. This kind of jealousy reflects commitment. It is a signal that your place in his life is meaningful, that he has a deep emotional stake in the connection you share. The fear of losing you also strengthens effort and presence. A man who loves does not remain passive. He becomes motivated to nurture the relationship, invest in shared experiences, and consistently show care and commitment. He recognizes that meaningful connections require attention, empathy, and active participation. Every act of consideration, every effort to understand and support you is driven by an unconscious desire to safeguard the bond. This is not performed out of obligation. It is an instinctive emotional response to the awareness that your absence would create a void he cannot bear. Emotional intensity often accompanies this fear. A man may feel heightened emotions when he senses uncertainty, distance, or potential conflict. These emotions are not irrational. They are rooted in deep attachment and the recognition that love is fragile when neglected. The intensity reflects the value he places on the relationship, the importance of shared emotional stability, and the profound influence you have on his internal world. Understanding this allows a woman to recognize that strong emotions, when expressed with care and respect, often signal genuine attachment rather than insecurity or volatility. Fear of loss also motivates protective behavior on a broader level. He may become more conscious of external factors that could threaten your happiness or the relationship, from social dynamics to personal circumstances. This awareness does not translate into control. Instead, it inspires proactive care, thoughtful planning, and emotional guidance. Love creates a sense of responsibility. an internal drive to maintain the connection and preserve the emotional safety and well-being of both partners. Every careful decision, every gesture of reassurance is shaped by this underlying desire to protect and maintain the bond. Interestingly, this fear can enhance emotional depth. Awareness of potential loss makes every shared moment more meaningful, every conversation more intentional, and every expression of care more profound. He experiences gratitude, appreciation, and a sense of urgency to nurture the connection while it exists. Human psychology shows that awareness of impermanence amplifies attachment. It heightens focus, strengthens emotional engagement, and encourages behaviors that solidify bonds. In this sense, fear of losing you becomes a catalyst for deepening love rather than weakening it. This emotional sensitivity also fosters empathy. He becomes more attuned to your needs, desires, and vulnerabilities, knowing that neglect or misunderstanding could create distance. The fear of losing someone beloved sharpens perception, increases patience, and encourages active listening. Every effort to communicate clearly, understand fully, and act considerately is influenced by this awareness. His actions are guided by the knowledge that love requires care, attention, and a consistent demonstration of respect and value. Jealousy and fear together create an intricate balance. While they reflect emotional intensity, they also reveal commitment and investment. When expressed healthily, these feelings lead to thoughtful behavior, increased attentiveness, and strengthened bonds. They are indicators of a man's prioritization of the relationship, a measure of how much he treasures your presence, and proof that the emotional connection is neither superficial nor temporary. They serve as a reminder that love is not passive. It is a dynamic force that motivates effort, presence, and emotional growth. Finally, this combination of fear and devotion emphasizes the sacredness of the relationship. The intensity he feels is evidence of the significance you hold in his life. It reflects the emotional depth, loyalty, and care that characterize genuine attachment. Recognizing these feelings allows a woman to understand the silent language of love, a language rooted in concern, attentiveness, and the desire to nurture what is most precious. Love in this form is a living, breathing force that inspires vigilance, compassion, and consistent dedication. Love often speaks loudest in the smallest actions. These gestures may seem ordinary or easily overlooked, yet they carry more meaning than any words ever could. A man in love instinctively communicates through these tiny, consistent acts, each one a reflection of his care, attention, and devotion. He understands, often subconsciously, that true emotional connection is built not on grand statements but on repeated expressions of thoughtfulness. These subtle behaviors reveal the depth of his feelings, showing that love is present, active, and persistent. Small acts of consideration are driven by awareness. He notices your habits, your preferences, and the things that bring you comfort. A simple gesture, like remembering your favorite drink, sending a message to check on you, or offering support during a stressful moment, signals that you occupy a central place in his thoughts. Psychology demonstrates that these seemingly minor behaviors create emotional reinforcement. They communicate care and attention, generating feelings of security, appreciation, and emotional closeness. Love is often proven through these repeated microactions more than through dramatic displays. Consistency is key. A man in love will perform these acts not sporadically, but regularly, making you feel valued and cherished without needing a reason or an occasion. These actions reflect intention and emotional investment. When someone consistently thinks about the happiness and comfort of another person, it shows that the bond is important enough to influence daily choices. Even when words are absent, the repeated attention creates trust, reassurance, and a quiet affirmation of affection. Attention to detail is another hallmark of these small acts. He notices the things that matter most to you, even when they seem trivial. A thoughtful comment about something you said days ago, a supportive response to a minor concern, or a spontaneous act of kindness reveals emotional engagement. Love in this form is less about spectacle and more about understanding. It is the ability to perceive your world, anticipate needs, and respond with care in ways that strengthen the emotional connection. These acts also serve as a form of communication. When he performs small gestures, he is speaking through actions rather than words. Human psychology shows that nonverbal expressions of affection often have a stronger emotional impact than verbal declarations. Actions are harder to fake. They reveal sincerity, intentionality, and emotional alignment. Each small act communicates the message, I notice you, I care about you, and your happiness matters to me. Over time, these moments accumulate, creating a deep sense of being valued and understood. Support through small actions extends to emotional availability. He is present when needed, listens attentively, and offers comfort without being asked. These behaviors reflect the genuine desire to ease burdens, reduce stress, and provide reassurance. They demonstrate that love is not passive. It requires effort, empathy, and the ability to tune in to another person's needs. When these actions are consistent, they create a foundation of trust and emotional security that strengthens the bond profoundly. Subtlety is a defining feature of these gestures. They are rarely performed for recognition or praise. Instead, they are natural expressions of attachment. Whether it's remembering your small likes, noticing your mood, or adjusting his behavior to support your comfort, each act is meaningful. These behaviors signal attentiveness, thoughtfulness, and prioritization, showing that love thrives in the details rather than the dramatic. The depth of feeling is embedded in these small, deliberate choices. Acts of care also inspire reciprocity. When he consistently invests energy in small, thoughtful ways, it encourages mutual emotional investment. This cycle of attention, support, and understanding strengthens the relationship. It creates a dynamic where both partners feel valued and respected, fostering a sense of partnership and shared emotional growth. Love expressed through consistent micro-actions is not fleeting. It builds resilience, intimacy, and long-lasting connection. Even ordinary moments become extraordinary through these small gestures. Simple considerations like offering help without being asked, remembering a special date, or making time for meaningful conversation reveal attentiveness and emotional presence. These behaviors may appear insignificant at first glance, but they carry weight because they demonstrate consistent prioritization of the relationship. Love in action is measured not by words alone, but by these repeated choices that reflect care and commitment. Finally, small acts show that love is intentional. They reveal that he is thinking of you, anticipating your needs, and willing to invest effort without expectation of reward. Psychology confirms that these consistent, thoughtful behaviors strengthen emotional bonds, reinforce trust, and communicate authenticity. Every small gesture becomes a silent affirmation that the relationship matters deeply, that the emotional connection is genuine, and that the love he feels is not superficial, but enduring, consistent, and meaningful. When a man is in love, simply being near you brings him a sense of quiet joy that cannot be measured by words. It is not excitement alone or a fleeting thrill. It is a deep, enduring happiness that arises from connection, comfort, and the knowledge that someone he cherishes is present. This joy is subtle yet profound. It affects the way he perceives life, his mood, and even his energy. Being with you becomes a source of fulfillment, a place where he feels calm, inspired, and emotionally complete. This inner joy often transforms ordinary moments into meaningful experiences. A simple conversation, a shared laugh, or a quiet walk becomes more significant because it is shared with someone he values deeply. Psychology confirms that emotional attachment amplifies pleasure in the presence of loved ones. When he is with you, his brain releases positive neurochemicals, reinforcing feelings of satisfaction, contentment, and emotional closeness. This natural response strengthens the bond, making shared moments even more impactful over time. Joy in love also arises from emotional safety. A man who feels deeply connected experiences a sense of calm and reassurance simply by being near you. Your presence reduces stress, increases comfort, and creates a sense of balance in his emotional world. This phenomenon is rooted in attachment theory. Humans are biologically wired to feel secure and happy when emotionally connected to someone they trust. In this way, your presence becomes a source of inner peace and stability, quietly transforming his emotional landscape. This happiness is often reflected in subtle behaviors. He smiles more easily, laughs more freely, and carries a lightness in his interactions that reflects genuine contentment. These are not performative gestures. They arise naturally from the joy of connection. His energy becomes attuned to the relationship, radiating positivity and emotional warmth. Every interaction, no matter how small, carries a sense of fulfillment that goes beyond superficial pleasure. It is a reflection of deep emotional resonance. Being with you also inspires motivation and personal growth. Emotional joy strengthens resilience and fosters creativity, confidence, and a desire to be better. When a man experiences happiness from a connection, it encourages him to improve, to invest more in the relationship, and to approach life with a more optimistic and engaged mindset. Love in this form becomes a source of inspiration, subtly shaping thoughts, decisions, and behaviors in ways that promote both personal and relational growth. This inner contentment also enhances empathy and attentiveness. Joy in your presence makes him more inclined to understand your needs, anticipate your feelings, and act with consideration. Happiness in love is not selfish, it encourages care and thoughtfulness. He experiences a desire to nurture and support you, not out of duty, but as a natural response to the positive energy that your connection generates. This emotional reciprocity strengthens bonds and reinforces the psychological significance of shared moments. Even silence becomes meaningful when he is with you. A quiet moment, simply sitting together, brings a sense of completeness that words cannot express. The joy of connection does not always need conversation or action. It is a presence, a feeling of alignment, and an understanding that both hearts are connected in a calm and powerful way. This subtle emotional resonance is one of the most profound signs of love, showing that true affection thrives in connection, presence, and shared emotional experience rather than in spectacle or noise. This inner happiness also motivates protective and supportive behaviors. A man who feels content in your presence naturally wants to preserve that feeling, for himself and for you. He seeks to create more moments of joy, to reduce sources of stress, and to nurture an environment where the connection can continue to grow. Emotional satisfaction becomes both a reward and a motivator, inspiring actions that enhance the relationship and reinforce the sense of safety, appreciation, and love. Joy in love also fosters gratitude. He becomes more aware of your qualities, the ways you impact his life, and the unique value you bring. This gratitude deepens attachment, strengthens emotional bonds, and inspires ongoing care. When someone consistently experiences happiness through connection, it creates a reinforcing cycle. Attention to the loved one produces joy, and joy motivates further care and consideration. This is why inner happiness is both a symptom of love and a driving force that sustains it over time. Finally, the sense of fulfillment he experiences simply by being with you signals authenticity and emotional depth. Love is revealed not only in words or grand gestures, but in the quiet, sustained joy that arises from your presence. It is a subtle but powerful proof that his feelings are real, that his attachment is profound, and that the emotional bond is nurturing, sustaining, and deeply meaningful. Recognizing this joy allows you to understand the strength of his connection and appreciate the quiet, transformative power of love that exists when two hearts resonate together. Love is one of the most transformative experiences a person can have, and when a man truly falls in love, it reshapes his world in ways both seen and unseen. It is not a fleeting emotion or a temporary fascination. It is a deep, persistent force that changes priorities, molds behavior, and awakens emotions that might have remained dormant. The love he feels is expressed through care, attention, patience, and an unwavering desire to nurture, protect, and support. It is a force that quietly yet powerfully transforms his thoughts, actions, and perspective on life. When a man loves, he does not just think about you, he integrates your presence into the very fabric of his existence. You are no longer simply someone he admires from afar. You become central to his decisions, his hopes, and even his dreams. His emotions are tied to yours in a way that is both profound and instinctive. This attachment is not based on convenience or superficial attraction. It is rooted in genuine connection, respect, and recognition of the unique value you bring to his life. Love, in this form, is both a privilege and a responsibility, an internal force that compels care, effort, and intentionality. This love is often quiet, expressed more through consistency than spectacle. Every gesture, every thoughtful act, every moment of attentiveness carries weight because it is deliberate and meaningful. It is expressed through small, daily actions that demonstrate awareness, respect, and commitment. The depth of his affection is revealed not through dramatic declarations, but through these subtle, repeated behaviors that reinforce trust, security, and emotional closeness. Over time, these actions build a foundation of love that is durable, sincere, and deeply rooted. Psychology shows that love affects the mind, altering the way he thinks, reacts, and experiences the world. He becomes more patient, empathetic, and attuned to the feelings of someone he values deeply. Emotional vulnerability becomes possible because the connection creates a safe space. Fears, hopes, dreams, and insecurities emerge not as weaknesses, but as bridges to deeper intimacy. The love he feels motivates self-reflection, personal growth, and an enhanced capacity to connect authentically. This transformation is a quiet revolution within his mind and heart, driven by genuine emotional investment. When a man loves, he also experiences joy, fulfillment, and gratitude that arise simply from your presence. Ordinary moments become meaningful. Laughter resonates more deeply, and silence itself carries warmth and comfort. This emotional resonance strengthens attachment and reinforces the importance of the connection.